with B-Bad and Brandon. I did forget. Thanks for reminding me. We don't have a checkboard yet. Okay. But once we do, it'll be a little bit like, the movies are like...
Man, I looked them up. They're expensive.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be like a trip to Bargain City or something and we're good to go.
No, we're not Bargain City, bro.
Yeah, I know, but
I want one that's on the fucking big screen movies like Tom Cruise is using.
Does he still make movies?
Dude.
Yeah.
Don't get me started on Tom Cruise. You are not coming to our Top Gun party.
Well, no, just me. Like the last movie I watched with Tom Cruise was The Last Samurai.
What?
No, like
get out.
Okay. Well, anyways, welcome back to the Platform Podcast, episode 2 here. I am Brandon Greco, joined by co-host Johnny B-Bad Nelson. I love just throwing in your last name there. Thank you. People know.
Just in case.
Yeah.
You're a
we are joined by a very special guest today. Our first person on the podcast, Mr Ricky Goodyear. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Welcome.
Well, no, we're welcoming you. You can't say welcome to you. Our welcome.
Yeah, exactly right. Now, Ricky, most important question. You've only got 21 words. Who are you and what do you do?
Yeah, you counting the words?
Yeah, I'm counting the words.
Okay, he's counting the words. 21. Who are you? What do you do?
Jeez.
That's one.
Ricky Goodyear. I'm powerlifter and train out of Valhalla. Currently being trained by Brandon under Epic.
So that's, how many is that? 16 words.
Done.
That's it?
That's it? Oh, wow. I feel like there's a little bit more there, but we'll kick off with
I
that.
didn't want to go over 21. Give half information.
Yeah.
Get the rest later.
It's really like a blackjack game there.
100%. How long have you been powerlifting for, bro?
Well, I had a few years off, just come back, but started first comp 2011, mid to end 2011.
What comp was that?
Capo National Deadlift Comp, which
Really?
I believe Johnny was a part of.
I was in that comp. That would have been my third deadlift comp. Third year of doing that comp, I reckon.
And when did you... Oh, because you started back in 2008.
2008, yeah.
Jeez.
And that was at Healthworks, Jeff Lamb's gym.
Certainly was.
Yeah.
That was a first powerlifting comp, but single lift, yeah.
What did you think of that as a powerlifting comp?
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
Thought it was really good.
Do you remember warming up like out the back in that weird little room, but you'd be looking over like the commercial gym the whole time? And then like, did you ever? I remember one comp I did there. I rescued 2 people in the commercial gym.
I've heard this so many times from lifters who could compete there. They're like, yep, just went out and picked someone up out of a squat rack or something.
Yeah, I grabbed one guy out of a squat rack and one dude with a bar off his neck.
Yeah, right.
It was hilarious. And then you'd be waiting for the shout out to Lammy, you did awesome comps.
Yeah, because he just sold it.
Yeah.
Jeff Lamb.
Yeah, I saw that.
Kind of deserved the break.
Yeah.
He's really built a lot of what powerlifting is because of what he did back then.
Yeah, 100%.
So,
did you do anything before powerlifting, or did you just say?
In strength sports, strongman.
Yeah.
So yeah, I trained. So basically, the history behind it, gym training. It's a bit of a gym bro.
Yeah,
commercial gym for a lot of years. So when I started in training, the only thing really around as far as competition goes was bodybuilding. So all the gyms were really bodybuilding focused because there really wasn't any strength sports being done around that time. And a lot of bodybuilding type training. Didn't really have an interest in competing in bodybuilding. Seemed to be the only thing to compete in. And I just used to train for it just for the love of training.
Sick.
And at one point I ruptured a disc. So I was in my cervical spine.
Oof, Jesus.
And so that put me off for a few years. And I went away, came back, and I sort of went into off track onto literally enduro dirt bike racing for a while. And
Enduro dirt bike racing?
Yeah, and then used the gym training as a bit of cross training.
Did you compete in the enduro stuff?
Yeah. So I did a season in enduro.
Wow.
Something different. Loved it. It was heaps of fun. And then as I was doing the enduro for the training, I'd do like circuit style training with the gym and started to enjoy it again, and I wasn't getting any issues from my back.
Yeah.
So I thought I'll start looking at training more full time.
Yep.
And sort of got away from the dirt bike and then ended up progressing into strongman.
In strongman,
there, yeah.
What was strongman comps like back then?
The amateur type comps. I ended up I think it might have been the last comp I did was the Nationals, which was really cool. So that was held down at Crowell Castle in Ballarat. Ballarat, yeah, that was brilliant comp, loved it.
Is it the one you're talking about, the castle?
Yeah.
There was a castle.
So I was on Australia Day in Ballarat. The whole place was covered in fog in the morning.
Oh.
They had a pipe band come through the gates into the field.
What?
It was brilliant. It was like out of a movie. And then we had our day. So they had like a big day with other events on, and the strongman thing was part of that Australia Day fair.
Sick.
And so we got to compete in that, which was brilliant. Loved it.
That would have been huge.
Yeah, it was great. But other than that, it was mainly just local type local comps. Yeah.
There wouldn't have been too much happening too with the.
Not back then.
Not really. It was kind of really just kind of starting. There wasn't that many comps. Wasn't that much in the way of equipment or anything like that. So you'd usually train at the gym and try and do something that was kind of specific to what you knew you were going to be doing in the comp, and then on the day just get in there and use their implements and weights and all the rest of it. And
have the events changed so much from what you've seen, or are they still relatively strongman seems to be pretty
It's blown up in the moment.
Sorry? It has blown up.
Oh, it's compared to what it was then. It's massive.
Do you think there's been a massive change or shift in the events, or is it still relatively
there probably
similar?
has more variations. It was quite basic back then, so we did the like your overhead like log type stuff. You'd do yoke carries, farmers walks, duck walk, all that sort of stuff, all the basic type things. Worst thing to ever do.
Do you remember any of your numbers of things you moved back then?
Look, not really as far as the weights go. Other than I know I've done a static hold with farmers, 200 kilos a hand.
Jesus.
But that's I don't know how long I held that for. I can't even remember. We didn't record anything so there was no videoing your training really or that.
Before the Instagram.
I think one of the guys used to video some of the stuff and there's probably some of that floating around, but I never used to record anything. So
yeah, sick. And then you crossed into powerlifting.
Yeah, so I was doing the strongman thing and kind of getting a bit beaten up from it because there was no real structure to the training. I'd done like the bodybuilding type stuff, and even with that there was no real structure outside of what you'd find in like your muscle and fitness magazines. So there was a lot of 3x10 type.
Hey, hold up, those magazines are phenomenal.
I've probably still got some at home.
I got one. I remember reading. I'm a young guy compared to you two, but
hey, yeah, you are.
Oh, true. I remember reading one with Ronnie Coleman, and they said he did 40 sets of lat pull downs. I went to the gym that afternoon, did 40 sets of lat pull downs.
That's what I did, right?
It's just what was available.
Good for Ronnie, it's good for you.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
You kind of got your information through magazines and then the people in the gym that you talk around. So the communication was fairly limited.
Where were you training back then?
Where?
Yeah.
I've trained at a number of gyms. The actual strongman training was at Genesis Gym at Lawton.
That's still floating around too, eh?
That's still going. I've got a couple of clients that train there.
So trained out of there and competed out of there. So one of the guys from the strongman fraternity, if you like, he started to run some comps out of there. And I saw him training and hit him up because I always wanted to train for a purpose, and the whole bodybuilding thing, my heart wasn't in it. I saw the strongman thing and went, I'll give this a crack. This looks like fun because I always liked lifting heavy and at the time the only real goal that I guess I had was to be the strongest in the gym. You just want to work on. To me, strength is the thing that I wanted to get better at. So just. So
what made the transition from strongman to powerlifting?
So the strongman to powerlifting thing was I was getting a bit beaten up through the strongman. There wasn't really much in the way of structured training for it. And the comps, though they were heaps of fun, but there was no really, there wasn't like an association or federation or anything really that would provide any structure around the comp. So it was fairly loose. And then I heard about the powerlifting sport and thought, have a look at this. It looks like something with a bit of structure, which for me worked great. Had a look around. I found it. I'm pretty sure it was in the phone book back then. I found PTC Brisbane.
That's the best.
Wow.
So I came across Scotty's gym. Yeah.
Was that Kalenga?
That was a Kalenga. Yeah.
Wow, that's a long time ago.
OG of PTC/Bell.
Yeah, I think Scott might have been open for a few months before I joined. So that's
sick.
April 2011.
Yeah.
I believe is when I started. And so those guys, I jumped in there, and they were all training to programs and to had all this good structure behind their training, and there was some method behind it. And they were training into comp. So at the time, they were all getting ready to go down to the Capo National comp. I think that was in August. So they were getting ready for that. I thought, wow, this is great, and had a really good team environment. And so they all trained for that. Went down there and come back and. I thought I went in on this,
and a part of it.
Yeah, and then I spoke to Scott about upcoming comps, and the next one they were going to go down for, because there wasn't really much in Brisbane. There was some Capo stuff.
Capo and 3 comps a year at best.
And so the next comp they were going to do was Pro Raw 2. Marcos's comp. 2. Yeah, so I hit Scotty up and went, I've got to get in on this. And so
where was Pro Raw 2 held?
Where was that?
That was down at Frankston Arts Centre.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they still have comps there now, I believe,
Well, they got GPC Nats running out of there this year.
Sick.
They've had it there a couple of times before, and all the big dogs up until the last one was run out of there. So
good venue. I remember when we were lifting, when we got to the deads, we were getting complaints from some function down the end of it. The tables were rattling and whatever. That's from cool. Some of the guys.
How'd you go first 3 lift comp?
First 3 lift comp.
Pro Raw, how'd you go?
Yeah, ended up coming second.
Sick.
Out of that. I ended up with a 250 squat.
Yep.
So that's walked out squat with wraps.
Yep.
Benched 170 and pulled 270.
Sick.
So for 690 total?
690 total for my first 3 lift,
Not too bad.
Yeah, I had a ball, loved it.
And I want all.
Thought, I've got to keep going at this.
That's sick.
Keep working on it.
Best total? Best comp?
Best total that I've done was 900. So that was a 350 squat, 220 bench, and a 330 dead.
As a 110?
That was at 110, yeah.
So just I'll boast for you because you're a bloody humble bloke, but Ricky was the first 110 kilo lifter to ever go 900.
Yeah,
that's huge.
Yeah, that was back in 2014 Nationals, wasn't it?
2014 Nats, yeah.
So that's
Gold Coast.
Yep.
Yeah.
Was the first one of the Goldie? Because Scotty ran those.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
GPC 2014, 15, 16. That was some of the best comps that week.
It was brilliant. So the first one we had was at Caloundra.
Yeah.
That was 2012, and then the next year was down in Melbourne.
Yeah.
That's when Dan Green came out. And then 2014, we had Ed come out for that one. So
it's first time Eddie Cohen.
First time I met Ed Cohen.
What was that like?
It was brilliant. I'd heard about Ed through the gyms back when I was younger, and I knew of him. I spent quite a few years at 3 gyms and finished at Genesis with one of my longer training trained for about 10 years with a guy who was older than me, and he'd had some involvement with some strongman athletes and powerlifters and that type of thing, and he knew and used to tell me all these stories about Ed Cohen, and that's where I first heard about Ed. So I was stoked to actually meet him, and then when I had the comp, got to get to know Ed, and he's helping with the psych up for the deads and stuff.
That would have been dope.
So coming into that last deadlift, did you know you were on for 900, or was it you were just trying to build towards it?
No, I'd had a plan to hit 900 weeks out. Yeah. Probably for the entire prep, really. That's what I was working towards. Had everything going really well. Yep. I finished my squat comfortably, no injuries. It's probably, apart from my actual last deadlift, it was probably the best comp that I'd actually
Because you
had.
went 8 from 9 that comp.
Yeah, I went 8
Really?
from 9, so yeah,
You missed your last one for 9, 10, 23,
Correct.
2,000 pound,
yeah,
2,000 pound total. That's right.
yeah, I pulled the 330 for a second, and
Yeah.
it was quite comfortable.
Yeah.
I went for a 340 on my third, and I got just above the knees, and yeah, I could feel it was like a bunch of my vertebrae popped. Like I could feel like a crunch in my back.
Oh.
And immediately put the bar down
That's
and
done.
knew that
Was there a split second after you let it down that you were like I could have pulled it, or I should have kept pulling?
for sure.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted the 900, but I really wanted the 2,000 pound total. That's what I was. So the plan was plan A, hit 900. Plan B, go for 2,000, and so I had all those lifts already planned out.
Yeah, nice.
I finished that lift and went straight upstairs, and I ended up just bending over in the shower and putting some heat into it because I was just having trouble walking after it.
Worth it?
Oh, absolutely. I'd do it again tomorrow. Yeah, it was great. It was great.
Was after that comp, what was your next one?
So that was 2014 Nats. After that, I went to Pro Raw 6.
Yep.
So you went.
Because you didn't do Pro Raw 3 or 4 or 5. You went
No,
Pro Raw
no.
to Pro Raw 6.
Yeah, I'd actually prepped right through, focusing on Pro Raw and that. But I
As a 110?
so
Yep.
I ended up after the 900 total, I'd started to prep for Pro Raw 6, and I had an injury might have been about 10 or 11 weeks out from the comp, and I had an adductor. It was basically an adductor strain, and so that put me out. Well, I had 9 weeks in total without squatting.
Oh, wow.
Or deadlifting, so I just worked on things like heavy bent over rows and that type of thing, just to try and do what I could to get on the platform.
Get that carryover into the main lift type thing.
Yeah, just sort of do what I could with what I had. Unfortunately at Pro Raw, I came second there.
Oh.
Who
Who came second to? Do you remember who was first?
Nathan Jones.
Yeah.
That's good.
That would have been awesome comp.
It was a great battle. It was the disappointing thing, I didn't come into the comp as
At your
healthy
best.
I wanted to. I was really looking forward to competing against Nathan because I hadn't competed against him before. I came in, did that, came second to him. That I ended up getting a 340 squat. I went 222 and a half on my bench, and ended up with a 320 pull after that time.
So what's that? That's 942? No.
No.
942.
882 and a half.
882.
Yeah, nice. What did Nate get? Do you remember?
I can't recall.
Yeah.
I can't recall.
Before that injury, did you go into Pro Raw 6 going, I want 910? Was that the original goal, or did you just go and go, I'm going to lift?
Yeah, look, it was after I did that to my back, it was really about just doing what I could to get on the platform and compete. And I just wanted to be able to come in and do as well as I could against Nathan. That was the main goal, so that we could have a good comp together,
Absolutely.
Went and did that and finished Pro Raw 6. And then there was I think there was 3 weeks between Pro Raw 6 and Worlds, which was in Argentina. So I went off and did Worlds, and I did a cut for that. So we went on to actually did a keto diet into that, and weighed into the hundreds. Did my first comp in the hundreds.
You were shredded.
What did you bench that comp?
210. I ended up benching it. So that was at the time there was a GPC World Open record. At
Did you won that as well?
Yeah, and that was I ended up winning that on body weight.
Really?
So, yeah.
So you equaled?
Yeah, so I came. I totaled the same as the guy who ended up coming second, and basically, it just went back to body weight. So I've been really fortunate. I've had 2 comps where I won on body weight, and the other one I came second on body weight, and they were both at World Championships. So that was pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
So really good competition. Tough. That one at 100, like I was totally maxed out. There was no way I was going to get any more than that. So it was what it was.
You see because what did you drop from 110?
Yeah, so I weighed in. Well, it was about 3 weeks or so between Pro Roll 6 and
Jeez.
the Worlds, and Pro Roll 6 I was 108.8.
That's a big drop.
And
You obviously took a bit out of your bench.
Yeah, look, the bench, because I hadn't been training so much with squats and deads leading into Pro Raw, like I had that 9-week block of not squatting and deadlifting, I really focused more on my bench. So even though I probably was down a little bit, I weighed in at like 99.1 for Worlds, but my bench felt the strongest I'd ever had because that's what I'd really prioritised through that prep.
Yeah.
And came out with with an open record for that bench, so it was good to walk away with that. And it was a really rough comp. The one in Argentina.
Yeah, I've heard stories about that one.
It was really rough. So that was it was awesome.
So that'd be one of your more favourite comps you've done, you reckon?
No, it's probably it was rough. There was a lot with that comp that we had issues with, but it was kind of one of those things. I'm really glad I did it because for the experience.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, as far as a comp going well, it wasn't that comp. It was nowhere near that comp. Jeez. But it was an awesome experience.
Big field to travel.
Oh, it was, absolutely loved it. And that's one of the things that I've really enjoyed with powerlifting is I've done I think I did 4 world championships, and
really?
having that focus in the year to train towards it, and then to travel and go and enjoy a holiday while you're out.
What other countries did you get to go to?
So I competed in Slovakia first.
Wow.
And competed in Hungary the year after. And then went to Argentina, and then the last one was in Las Vegas.
Las Vegas.
How was that?
That was a pretty cool comp.
I remember seeing photos of you guys doing that.
Yeah, so Las Vegas.
At a gun range.
Yeah. We went to Battlefield Vegas. It was a blast. We went. So the last comp, that was the last Worlds that I did in Las Vegas. I went in the 125s.
Yeah.
So I've done the 100s, 110s, and 125s at the World Championships.
What weight were you at? Like, were you a true 125 or were you a 115, 125?
No, the 125 I weighed in at 120.5.
Can we please get a photo of super jacked Big Ricky, please?
Beautiful photo.
I've got the photos.
Yes, you do.
Send that through.
That's
going in the thing.
That is amazing.
Yeah, when I fed up for that comp, I purposely tried to bulk up as much as I could.
Yep.
Spilt over enormously, so I was fat.
Did you
functional?
Yeah, all mass is lean mass.
It really wasn't really that functional though. All I could think about was dieting really towards the end. I just couldn't.
So that leads to my next question. Did you find it really hard to go from and squat as a 110 lifter and then go up that weight class? Did you find it more difficult in just terms of?
I found it better.
Yep.
Yeah, putting weight on, I find with your squat helps you squat
Did
quite
it
a
help
lot.
Bench?
So with the bench, I did a bench only as well, and did that in the 125. Actually, no, I did that in the 140s. So
you did?
Yeah. I weighed in at 125.4 for a bench only. So that was the year after
in 2016.
Las Vegas. So it's 2016.
Why did you do it as a 125.4?
I just wanted that extra weight class. I wanted a big bench, and I thought I haven't done 140s. That'll be something else to work on. So my prep, I wasn't squatting or pulling. It was a very specific bench only prep.
Nice.
With and you can imagine, like, I'm not burning much calories doing bench only type prep. So I was smashing heaps of calories and spilt over bad.
What'd you bench?
So I ended up benching 227.5.
Nice.
500 pounds.
Yeah, so I took that for a fourth. I wasn't going for a total, so I wanted a 225. I hit that comfortably for a third, took a fourth, 227.5, and it probably felt better than the 225, to be honest. So But yeah, it was. I think squatting and benching do improve with weight increase.
I'd agree.
But
100% agree. Just that extra mass.
I think your deadlifts can suffer. Yeah.
Just try and move around.
Well, it's with positioning as well. Yeah.
100%. You got to move around a lot more. You got lot more leverage at the front.
Yeah.
Especially when you put that kind of 110 to 125.
Especially in I think with a conventional lift as well.
Yeah.
You're not an overly tall bloke either.
No.
Definitely wide.
Nah, wide, right.
For anyone watching, you just had for anyone not watching, you just got a cheeky grin as soon as I said he was wide.
The thing I'm super interested in, at some point in time there, you stopped powerlifting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it was around 2015. I ended up actually in emergency with a couple of stomach issues, and the first time I went in, I remember I was at home and I just had really bad cramps in my guts and couldn't sleep, ended up out of the bed, basically in the fetal position because I was just trying to get away from the pain.
Jeez.
And the missus took me into emergency, and so they did some ultrasound scanning and found that I'd had gallstones.
Ooh.
So I was having a gallstone attack, is what they call it. And yeah, when they were doing the ultrasound, that's when they found that I'd had one kidney. So it must have been a congenital thing that I was born that way. Yeah. And
so you never knew.
So how many years did you go through? All those years of life, you only had one kidney?
No idea. So
I was 227 on one kidney. I got two. Can't even get over 150.
I don't think they help with your bench. But no, with your kidney, I think it's around 20. It's got to be functioning at 20% or less for you to really notice the health implications from it.
Yeah.
And so I had no idea, and I'd never had any scans in my abdomen or that before. So they found that and started to put me through a program with a nephrologist and went through a whole series of tests and basically said immediately that I wasn't to do certain things. Things like I had to get my blood pressure down immediately. Wasn't allowed to dehydrate anymore. So, and I spoke to him about my sport and what I do, and because some of my cuts I'd dehydrate quite severely for those. So they said, basically you need to stop that from today.
That would have sucked hearing that.
Yeah, and then there was also the non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, so your ibuprofen, like your Nurofen and that type of thing. So I wasn't.
No, you can't take
that. That gets metabolised through your kidneys, or gets filtered through your kidneys. Well, and look, at the time I was probably taking those nearly daily just to manage pain, so that was a bit of a shock, and so we went through. Basically on the focus end was on health to get back and waiting for results. And fortunately, all the results came back and said that it appears that everything's healthy with the kidney that I had. But you need to basically maintain your health from now on and not do these things, because it's kind of like over a period of time that being exposed or doing the dehydration, that sort of stuff, is that over time that will effectively improve, you'll get scar tissue in the kidneys and that type of thing. And having a single kidney, they won't do a transplant, and so the only option is dialysis.
Don't want that. That's nice.
Yeah, and I thought, well, I probably need to prioritise this and do something about it. So I was getting pretty beat up towards the end, and probably a good part of that was not having the knowledge or applying some things around good mobility and stability and those types of things to prevent injuries and to reduce pain or to manage pain. And so for me, I just needed to. I'd had quite a big run. I'd back-to-back comps for a few years there, and I thought it's probably good to
give the body a break.
Yeah, give the body a break. And so I basically just stopped lifting and focused on, I'd already focused on weight reduction after my bench only comp, because I was just way too fat for my liking. I was having trouble just doing day-to-day things, but moved away from that.
So please tell the audience, and by the audience we mean probably our clients and our mum.
My mum is still asking what we're going to charge, and if it's too much, she's not listening to it.
Shout out to Laurel. Boom.
Yeah.
But please tell the audience what you went from. And powerlifting is an extreme sport in its own right.
Yeah,
it is, you got to be a bit of a freak to put the numbers you have on your back, to push yourself, no matter if it's not your numbers, it's all relative, but you got to be some kind of sick or twisted to push yourself to that limit. So please tell everyone what you then went to.
So after I finished with powerlifting and got out of it, I was kind of spent a bit of time just, I guess, had a bit of downtime and got pretty uncomfortable quickly with not doing anything.
Yeah.
So I thought I really need to be focusing on cardio health and looking after the kidney and that type of thing. So at the time, I just started to just go for walks and enjoy that. And I really enjoyed being in the outdoors and that type of thing. So the walks progressed into hikes.
Nice.
So I did a few...
Like the long ones?
Yeah, sort of I did a few around 50, 60k.
Jeez.
Like day hikes and that type of thing.
Yeah, wow.
Holy.
And because, I guess through training, you sort of get used to training and putting an effort in that you feel like you've done something. And so, just going for a walk around the block just doesn't cut it for me. So.
You're a competitive guy.
That's
not going to work. Otherwise, you're going to be racing people walking dogs around the corner.
I've got to have something to work towards and to achieve something. So, I started to do those and just set myself just little goals. Okay, I'm going to work up to this distance or go through different terrain or that.
Longest hike you ever did?
Longest probably around 60.
Yeah, nice. Favourite hikes? Where did you go?
That's a long walk.
I do a lot of stuff around Mount Mee.
Yep.
I found it really good. I could spend hours out there and not hear or see anybody.
That's got to be cool.
I think one of the longer ones that I did around a 50 plus at there one day, and it was about 5 hours before I even heard an aeroplane.
Wow.
And I wouldn't listen to music or anything. Just totally disconnect from everything. And it's great just to be out in the fresh air and clear your head and that type of thing.
That'd be an incredible experience.
So really enjoyed that. I was actually looking at a couple of multi-day long hikes that I was going to prepare for.
Yep.
One in particular was Larapinta. It's probably a bit over 200 kilometres.
Wow.
Is the hike.
That's like here to Gold Coast and back.
Yeah, so and that's west of Alice Springs too. So So just really beautiful country out there. But I ended up during the. I thought I'll get ready for that, and at some point after then, I thought I'll start to run. I thought I'll.
I want to know at what point does you're a big bloke. By then you would have been 100 kilos in roughly, or just under.
Oh, when I was doing the hiking, I was still over 100, probably.
Okay, so at what point did you go, I'm going to take this 100 plus kilo frame and start running?
That's
what?
Probably at the point where you're trudging up hills with a pack and going, I can be fitter than this. So I thought I'm going to work on fitness, and then I thought work on fitness makes sense, start running.
Sick.
And that I was... I did little athletics and all that sort of stuff, and did athletics through high school and whatever. And so I thought I've never done, and I hated long distance running when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I thought I've got to have a crack at this. So
Right.
I'd been following a few of the ultra runners.
Yep.
For a little while, just because I think they're a special kind of breed. And
absolutely.
It's just incredible some of the things that people can do, and I'd never seen myself as being an ultra runner, but I certainly wanted to see what I could do, what I was capable of, and started to train, and went from doing short runs to at the start of this year, February, I did my longest race, which was a 50k in New Zealand.
50k in New Zealand.
Trail run.
So it was all off-road.
What sort of time were you looking at to do something like that? How long does that take to run?
I think total running time was 7 hours 13, I think, from memory.
Damn.
Of running.
And now when you're running like that, are you trying to be competitive? Are you trying to beat people out there, or are you just trying to beat yourself?
No. There's
savvy. they were monsters in that.
Just phenomenal. So yeah, it was purely, you can't, I've got a reasonable idea of what I'm capable of, and there's no way that I was going to try and be competitive with other people in doing something like that. Like, it's purely just try and do what you can yourself. You're really competing against yourself and trying to get to the line in a reasonable time. So, as I was going through the race, I'm looking at my time and I'm thinking, okay, I'll try and make the next checkpoint in this particular time. But really, you've got a map that shows you your elevations and everything through the trails. But I just certainly don't have the experience to look at that and go, okay, that I know that's going to take X amount of time to get there, because you turn the corner and you might have a hill that's near vertical. It's going to slow you down, right? And there was some really steep stuff out there, but it's
what would training look like for that? For like you did for a training week?
So training, I did. We used to do. I started off doing some park runs and that type of thing. They're like 5K runs they do on Saturdays.
So it's a bit like doing a novice powerlifting comp, right?
Yeah, sort of.
You're putting your toe in the water of a run. Look at it.
So the running, I ended up. Well, I started with a club, just a local club. And then moved to an online training. So the actual race in New Zealand that I went for, they have it's sponsored by a coaching group over there. So I did some online coaching with them. Really, really helpful and great. And so they'd do all the programming for you. And it was very similar to strength programming. They taper into comp, but they also have, there's some, you do a bit of auto regulation through there, but you also have, days where you're doing long, slow distance, you've got intervals, and so they mix it up, and so you're basically improving on different elements of the running, and they'll structure your programming similar to the race. So if you've got a race with lots of hills, you're going to be doing some hills, that type of thing. So
did you do a bit of weights through that time when you were running? Did you find there was a bit of strength training to help with it?
Yeah, for sure. I used to do a little bit of strength training, because there's a lot of strength required through like glutes and hams and quads to some degree, but you also need to have some strength there to maintain posture for, you're out there for a long time, basically to make sure that you're running in a good form, because if you don't have, the main weakness I've found in runners is glutes and hams, and that ends up with knee injuries and all this type of thing. But there was some of that in there.
Did your body hold up alright with running?
Other than shin splints, it was great. I couldn't get over the shin splints, and that's ultimately why I ended up coming back to powerlifting, because it just crucified me. So I tried several different modalities to try and get over the top of the shin splints, but in the end it was basically I was doing long, slow distance, and I was just bored with it.
Would you, if you didn't have the shin splints, would you still be running?
Probably would be,
Thank God for shin splints.
Thank God for shin splints. Do you reckon it'd be a hybrid though? You'd be still dipping a bit of toe in the powerlifting like you are now, or you reckon you'd still?
No, I can't.
You're all or nothing.
I've got to commit. And if I can't just go and that's what I found, like with the running, doing some strength training. It's you do some, but in the back of your head, it's like, are we doing this or not? So I did.
So what was the moment you were like, powerlifting, let's commit, let's go?
So I actually remember it quite vividly. I was getting sick of the shin splints, doing the long, slow stuff, and it was all pretty much on my own. So I was getting pretty bored, I thought I need to do something, because this is just boring me. So I thought, and I've got some like a gym set up at home, so I've got a power rack and plates and bars and everything. And so I put some plates on the bar. Well, started off with the bar and went up and did some benching, and was just like shuddering under the bar and in disbelief of how weak I got.
What kind of weights you were like?
I did a pretty hard triple at 100. That was around February, March.
You just benched 200.
Yeah.
You're a bloody. But you're a competitive athlete. Like you own the mindset of talk. I remember talking to you back in February, just past him, you come here to train and be like, I'm talking to this bloke, and it's about running. Like, I have no, I respect those guys, and those guys are, as you said, they're savages, absolutely elite.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I'm like, that sounds fucking horrible. Like, that sounds absolutely horrible. You talk about it with such passion, as if you're talking about powerlifting. And you just dove straight in, you committed, you have that athletic mindset. Was it hard to come back to powerlifting? Or was it just that simple, let's go?
One in, all in.
Yeah, it was pretty easy. Hey, like I'd sort of, like, at that point when I benched under the house, I thought I was just amazed at how much strength I'd lost. And I thought, this is ridiculous. So I need to start working on this. And then I started to come in here and train a bit.
And that's when I got in his ear.
And as I started to train, I started to realise how much I missed mostly the people.
Yeah.
And then the actual training itself, obviously, started to train and started to get some gains back. And
by some,
just
he put on 14 kilos. In 2 weeks, and I was like,
nah, it wasn't that quick.
It was pretty quick.
It was pretty quick, but
the body wants to be big.
The body wanted calories, and I remember he came in one day, and we just all stopped and was like, the fuck is he doing? I want that. What the hell?
What don't I agree?
So yeah, I was, for the running, I was eating for it. There's no advantage in being a heavy runner.
Nah.
So I would basically just eat to fuel my training and to maintain a lean physique, I guess, for that. And then when I decided to start lifting, I'm going to eat for that. So my calories probably almost tripled. They definitely doubled from running into powerlifting.
They quadrupled, mate. They quadrupled.
Yeah. So started to train and
That's sick. And then as soon as you started training, it was a no-brainer you'd compete again, or you were just thinking, hey, I'll just train.
I needed something to work towards, so I really didn't have much. I started to do some squatting and started to get a little bit of knee pain.
Yep.
Just a bit of tendinopathy in my right knee. And so I thought, you know what, I don't really need to be doing this. So I thought I'm just not going to squat for the moment and just adapt to what I'm doing with my deadlifting and benching. And then I had a look at the calendar and saw the push-pull.
Yep.
So I thought, I'll just
great.
Commit to that. Started to train for that, and that's when I saw Brandon and said, I've obviously got a few things that I need to work through with getting prepped for this, and there's definitely going to be some weaknesses there that I need to address.
Yep.
So let's have a look at some programming and what I need to do to address those.
Big Brando's been your boy, sort of helping out a bit of guidance and stuff on that sort of stuff.
Do you notice much from, I guess, obviously I came to powerlifting pretty much as you were leaving it, back 2015, 2016. And that's, as you said earlier in the podcast, there was that lack of information around mobility and all that sort of stuff.
Sure.
And that kind of took off as you left. We can see there's a huge market, that's been, input into the market, of all that stuff. How did you find adjusting to that? Because, I guess I come from that, newer school, is that a word? Newer school mentality of powerlifting, not the traditional, let's, go till we break ourselves type thing. Did you find it hard to adapt to? Did you like the difference? What was your opinion of it?
Really like it, to be honest. Is one of the things, like when I was training previously for all my comps, we had so the main focus, and it's still the same, is programming those 3 lifts into competition. That's what it's all about. As far as ancillary type movements go, you would I would prioritise like a secondary ancillary that would be quite specific to the primary lift, and then the other stuff would be kind of just not fluff, but it's like, I really should be working on back, because we know that having a good back helps with bench and squats and dead, so we'll do that. And so I'd just sort of add stuff in there and train it, and where now I think there's more focus on doing things with more purpose, so it's more specific
intent behind what
there's
you're doing.
There's a lot more intent. I know when I kind of left, that was about the time when Jordan Cello was starting to get on the scene with the mobility, stability type stuff.
Yeah, well, he's really revolutionised the whole thing, back when it was mobility,
absolutely.
now it's like, it's stability. Stability is the new thing.
That's right. And so there was mobility stuff being done, and I used to do some myself. But I think that other block of stability is
just that missing link.
Missing link. And look, I've noticed, like, I did we were talking before about being the first 110 lifter to go 900. Well, I think there's been quite a few now that have gone over 900, and I, from what I can see, I think that stability part has contributed a lot to that result.
Yeah.
Stability,
and like you said, putting purpose behind every single exercise in the program.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's not just like, I'll do some hamstrings because hamstrings.
I'm not going to just do some lying leg curls because it's available. It's like, let's do this in this position.
Reason because I need that hamstring. I'm going to do the hamstring.
Yeah, and look, there's probably to some part it can be easy to overreach for some people, and so having work that you're doing, like your accessory type work, structured in a way that's you're going to do it with intent, but it's going to provide you a direct result that's going to support those primary lifts, and you're not going to do too much work that's going to hinder your recovery, but you're also not doing too little. And I think that's a really important component.
Absolutely.
That accessory movement that you do, or the exercise that you do, that they're done with intent and they're done properly, and they're considered a vital part of your training program.
Yeah, absolutely. And what are you thinking now? You've just come off push-pull, 200 bench, 300 pull. Is that right?
Yeah.
Super easy.
Super easy. We were all there, so it was amazing. Where's your head at now? Where do you want to work towards next?
So I'll be competing in the GPC States coming up in first weekend of March.
Still thinking 110?
Second weekend of March, second weekend.
Yeah.
Still want to be 110, or it's just kind of
I
see
think
what body
so.
weight sits?
No, I think there's no need for me to be any heavier than 110. It's not going to give me any benefits in being heavier than that. I can sit in the 110s quite comfortably and still have a bit more room to move in the 110s. Really, I think for me to be competitive in the 125s or to be useful in the 125s is probably another year or two of a lot of progression.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
But for the moment, my sights are set on States. Then States, I'm going to run a block into October.
What's in October?
So that'll be the GPC Worlds in Canada. So Canada's always been on my bucket list. Want to go there for a holiday. It's 2020. I think the Worlds will be my 20th sanctioned meet.
Cool.
Oh wow.
So it ticks a few. It's
a bit of a milestone.
Do you start thinking about numbers for something like that now?
No,
or just
not at all. So even for States, I haven't really put much thought into numbers at the moment. It's just progression. Getting on the platform, it'll be dusting the boots off for the squats. And then we'll have a look at progression into October from there. But even for that, there's some things that I'd like to be able to do in October. But it's so far out and there's so many different variables that it's not even worth writing down, But the main focus is progression. That's it.
Just want to be more, better and more.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I'm really confident that with Brandon's help and all that work in structuring the right program, that I should be able to do reasonably well.
And
for me,
absolute loving being back, being around.
It's great. Yeah, it's great.
I think it's been
I know I've loved having it.
Oh, it's the best.
Because previous to you lifting, obviously I was training and lifting, but somewhere else, so I never got to cross paths with you. Well, we did once, but never really knew each other. It's been unreal to have you around the gym.
Thanks.
Absolutely, I think even just the experience and the knowledge and what you bring to the Epic team. I know the boys love it. Like getting you in for that showdown. Like the boys are keen to have you at the back. So just
that's cool.
It's been an honour helping you back, and I can't wait for what this year's got in store. But I think we've got a couple of questions. We're gonna
outside of lifting, what do you love to do?
apart from eat.
Now, I've heard rumours it's astrology.
It's astrology.
It's not astrology.
So, just for context, anyone listening, Ricky's into astronomy.
And Jamie, and you think that is astrology.
I thought it was astrology. So I just mixed the two up, went around for 2-3 weeks telling everyone it was astrology. So if people
I've been waiting for Ricky to give me my star signs.
People are waiting. You need to give the people what they want. So
you were going to give us our star signs today.
And I believe that we're all going to lift heavy this year. That's what our star signs.
So what do you do for astronomy?
Back it was probably around that period when I was getting a little bit tired of running. I ended up getting a telescope and looking into astrophotography. Started to do some studies in a little bit of astrophysics, but astronomy.
Some astrophysics.
Yeah, you're getting into that just for something to study and to learn about.
Sweet. And so that just means you're getting outside night time.
Not so much at the moment because there's been a lot of smoke, haze and cloud. We're in that period of time now, there's lots of cloud as well. But through winter, lots of time outside. And
that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, and then you get that best of both worlds, that nice quiet space that you like from your running.
It's a good hobby just to
switch out and disconnect.
Switch off, and total different focus and I like the outdoors. I've always been interested in astronomy. And I sort of ended up joining into a group and learning a lot through that, and it's just really interesting. I find it really interesting.
When do you have time to read star signs?
I don't read star signs.
I really just want to know what's happening.
I'm into science, not
actual science.
Yeah,
that's super cool. All right,
Fine.
We've got 10 random questions to finish it off. You've got a first word that sort of pretty much comes to your mind, so we can't really go on with it. This is potentially where I know, and we talked earlier, the most important potential question of this whole discussion is about to arise.
This is great.
And we'll find out at the end if you can pick which one it is.
He's so excited.
I ran these questions past a bunch of people through the week, and I am super pumped. So we'll go favourite colour.
Blue.
Good choice.
You from New South Wales?
Is that your best question?
No. It gets better, bro. Favourite movie?
Oi. Really don't have one, hey.
Lies.
Not that I can...
Not that you can pick off the top of your head, but
No.
Nah, that's alright. If you could have dinner with anyone, who would it be?
Jeez.
You've had dinner with some pretty good dudes from...
I've been very fortunate to have some dinners with some really amazing people. Yeah, one person. I really couldn't put that down to one person.
You give us a couple then.
Stan.
Again.
Stan Efferding.
Stan Efferding, definitely. Again,
Yeah.
had a great time with him when he was out. I hope he's coming out again.
That'd be sick.
That's something Brandon can tee up.
Yep.
I got this.
What's your spirit animal?
Probably a warthog.
Favourite food?
It'd have to be burritos.
Yes. Would you rather look like a potato or feel like a potato?
Ooh. That's it, isn't it?
Yep.
Look like a potato.
Yeah, sweet. Favourite superhero?
Never had one, but if I did, I'd say the Hulk.
Nice. Do you believe in Santa?
No.
Do you cry in movies?
No.
If you did one thing now, what would it be that would make you famous?
Jeez.
Astronomy or astrology?
Astrology would be a really good mix.
Yeah, I don't know if that'd make me famous though.
I mean, the obvious one.
Total 1200.
There we go.
Yeah.
That'd do it, but it's not going to happen.
Not with that attitude.
See.
Let's get you to 140 plus.
Equipped.
Done.
Done. That's pretty much it.
Mate.
Where do we find?
Yes, where do we find you? Social media. Ricky, is it Ricky Goodyear on Instagram?
Ricky _Goodyear on Instagram.
Yeah.
Sweet. Ricky Astronomy.
Yeah, Rick's
Ricky Astrology.
Photography.
Yeah,
Really?
I can't even recall. I think it's astrophotography.
You didn't know he had an astrophotography page? Come on.
I don't.
Why are we...
Man, I'm across that. You put something up the other day.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was it again, just for everyone? Ricky...
Rick's Astro Photos, I think it could
Yeah,
be
I think
on
that's it.
Instagram. Yeah, I haven't used the account for a little while. I haven't been publishing, haven't been doing much because of the weather. But yeah, hopefully in the next month or two, depending on how the weather goes, I'll be able to get some time out there and
That'd be awesome.
Sweet, done.
get some more photos.
Mate, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
First guest on the platform.
First one on the platform.
So we're really honoured that you'd take the time out and have a chat to us. I'm sure, I mean, just sitting here talking to you, I know I've taken a lot away, so I'm sure the audience will as well. We'd love to get you back on, after I think Worlds.
After Worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be
Let's take
great.
that up.
That'd be sick.
Mate, thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Thanks very much. Cheers.
Thanks, mate.